hey, if you're a US citizen and you want to protect your retirement and you haven't got our free ebook yet, then you're really missing out. So click on the link in the description and find out how you can secure your retirement and your future today. Hi, Matt. How's it going?
All good, thanks, mate. And you guys?
Yeah. We're all good, all good. Very excited to be bringing what we've got today for you, and to anyone watching. This is the thing that really excites us the most and really sets, I think, what we do apart. And yeah, so we'll leave it at that. We'll jump in and all will be revealed. Do you want to just give us a disclaimer, James, as always?
Yeah, don't you worry, I'll never forget that. It's always there. Yeah, disclaimer as always, and I won't drag it out because people get bored of it, but we have to say it. We're not financial advisors. We don't look like a financial advisor for starters, do we? But we don't give advice. It's not in our DNA. We don't believe in advice. We only believe in helping people get to a better place financially. And that's through education, sharing knowledge with them, sharing information with them that they otherwise wouldn't know unless we're out there doing what we do. Most people don't know what we teach, or I'd say 99% of people don't know it, not aware of it. But when you do become aware of it, you can do something with it and you can get yourself to a better place. So that's why we share information. We don't tell you what to do. We don't advise.
Yeah. And we always encourage people as well, just to say, do your own research and don't trust us. Don't trust anyone individually. Do your own research and hopefully you'll come to the same conclusion. So,
boys, the world would be a better place if everybody would make those little announcements before they give out their propaganda on the television.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, oh, yes. Oh, what?
Can you imagine if they said on the mainstream media, look, don't believe us, do your own research? It would be, very, very different world for sure. Well,
it tells people, for me anyway, that tells people that you can trust what's coming out, because then you're not asking people to just believe you implicitly and trust you implicitly. And I love that about you guys.
Yeah.
We've always said to people too, we're not here to convince you of anything.
Yeah, that's true.
Nothing to do with that. We're not convincing you. It's here to share information with you. You either take it or leave it. And we say it. Look, like Adam just said, don't believe us. Go and do your own research. So empower yourself. And there's been too much advice given out there in the past, and too much bad advice too. People have got themselves into a bad situation because of it. So
but equally we get why people do that, because
of course
you have to take responsibility for yourself and your family, and that for some people that can feel like quite a big thing, because you have got to then go and do the research and find things out for yourself, which some people want to be told what to do, don't they? We plant the seed, the options there, and then it's over to you to do what you want with it. So let me share my screen, and we've got a few slides to go through, but it's all good stuff. This is what we've been waiting to tell you, Matt, this stuff. Can you see that there?
Yep.
Yes. Yeah. Please stop us though, Matt, on the way through this, because we might, just please stop us if you don't understand anything. Don't be shy. I know you're not normally, are you? But it's really, this is like the foundations. So you need to get this before you can do anything else. You need to really get this embedded in here and understand this before you can move on and benefit from it,
Yeah. So what we're going to talk about today is something called the gold-silver ratio. Okay. And the gold-silver ratio is, I guess, a concept, an idea that's been around for years. We actually heard about it probably 8 years ago, but we were just kind of starting out in buying metals for ourselves, and there were quite a lot to take in. So we just thought, look, do we need to know this right now? No, we'll just kind of put it to one side. And we didn't really understand the power of it and the application of it. But now we do, and now we love it, and it's the thing that we focus on the most. So what is the gold-silver ratio? The gold-silver ratio just asks and answers one question, and that is, how many grams of silver can you get with 1 gram of gold? So if you've got 1 gram of gold today at today's price, whatever that might be, how many grams of silver can you get for the equivalent value? That's all it's doing. And it's one number. You don't need to kind of know the details of this, but we'll tell it you anyway, just because there'll be some people that will want to know. The way that you get to the gold-silver ratio is you take the price of gold per gram, you divide it by the price of silver per gram, in these two examples, 48.80 and 0.58, and it gives you one number. So rather than having two prices, one divided by the other, you get one number. So the gold-silver ratio in this example would be 84. And that will explain what that means in a second. But that's all it is. You don't need to look up the gold price and then the silver price and then do some dividing and all this kind of stuff. You can simply type into Google or whatever, what is the gold-silver ratio today? And it will just tell you. And you're looking for one number. Okay? So the gold-silver ratio is, it can be used in a couple of different ways. And just so you get an idea of how it works, when the ratio goes up, so that 84, for example, would go to, say, 90, it means that gold is expensive and silver is cheap relative to each other. And if the ratio goes down, say from 84 to 80, that would mean that gold is cheap and silver is expensive. Okay, so that's how the number works. So up, gold is expensive, silver is cheap. Down, gold is cheap and silver is expensive. And we always want to, you'll understand this, we always want to think like Northerners. We want to be cheap. So we always want to buy what is cheap, okay? We always want a good deal. We always want good value for money. The first application of this is it helps us work out what to buy. This is a graph of the gold-silver ratio. Now, I know when the people see graphs, they can instantly be kind of turned off by it, but hopefully we'll make it a bit interesting and mean something. And this is the gold-silver ratio from 1975 to kind of 2022. And you can see it kind of goes up a bit and down a bit and up a bit and down a bit and kind of chugs along like that. Well, what we do is we put some lines on there to direct us into what to buy. So we put a line of 60, 80 and 40. And what we say is, if we're coming to buy metals today with cash, so we've got cash and we're buying metals, we look at the gold-silver ratio. And if the ratio today was 60 or around 60, we would buy 50% gold and 50% silver. And the reason for that is the average over time is around 60, 65, something like that. So what it's saying is it's not pointing massively towards silver. It's not pointing towards gold. So we're just hedging our bets and going in the middle. Okay. If it was 80 or above, we would buy 100% silver. Because from that information on the previous slide, we said, look, when the ratio goes up, gold is expensive and silver is cheap. And we want to buy what is cheap. So if the ratio today was 80 and we were buying with cash, we would buy 100% silver, because we know that 60, 65 is kind of the average. And it's kind of, I always think of it like an elastic band around your kind of two fingers, and you've pulled it up and it wants to kind of get back. So at this 80 mark, it's in silver territory for us. And it just means that you're getting a good deal on silver compared to gold. A lot of people ask us, what should I be buying? And other than preference, it's always been difficult for us to give an answer. Whereas this gives something that's quantitative that people can say, yes, 80, I know that's silver, and there's data to back it up. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, because I'd always, when I've been thinking about buying silver and gold, it's always been a kind of a finger in the air kind of thing to say, well, how much gold do I buy? How much silver do I buy? And this actually gives you some real guidance, and it makes sense, and it's really simple to understand. That's the great thing about it.
Yeah. I mean, this is just what we do. People might have their own ideas, but if they're wanting something like a guideline to kind of work towards, then this is what we do.
I'm sorry, Adam, but just to give you a visual, just to give you an idea, if you look at 2013 or thereabouts on the graph, that's when I personally started buying precious metals, and you can see where it was then. And that was roughly what I think, I'm pretty sure that was what I started buying at then, 50-50, but I didn't really know what I was doing. I didn't know what I was doing back then. I was just guessing. But the more we learned, then the more we realised that, oh, look, we started understanding the ratio. And the more, as you look at the chart, look at the graph, it was going up, wasn't it? The gold silver ratio over
Yeah.
that period of time from 2013. Then the more and more silver that I bought over time, and I started understanding it. So yeah, so it just gives you an idea of where, you know, where I personally started, where we are today.
Mm.
Well, that's 10 years there, look, isn't it? But yeah, as I understood it more, I started just buying more silver. But
And
yes, but I think
that's why,
50-50 is a good start point for a lot of customers anyway, wherever they are,
yeah.
but it just depends. But that's the rule, that we stick to.
And this is why there's been a lot of silver's got a lot of attention, because it's been massively in silver territory. And you can see from the data now why people are talking about silver, because it's the gold silver ratio is pointing in that direction. So equally, we've got
That's
a
quite
silver.
spike, isn't it?
Yes, we'll come to that spike
Yeah,
because
yeah.
and that was through the first lockdown, I think it was.
It
Was it
was
like
early
April
on
or
in
May,
2020.
something like that? Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you bought silver then,
Mm,
yeah, you could have profited massively. But we'll go on to that.
mm.
So equally, we've got a gold territory, and this is where we would look to buy 100% gold. So from that, you've got a framework. It's not perfect, but you can see from the data that there's something to be said for the zones that we've drawn, and it kind of makes sense, and it's a starting point. So that's the first application of the gold silver ratio. And if that's the only application you use, then we find that really useful. It tells you what to buy at certain points. So that's the first thing. Now, the second thing is the second application is we actually use it to switch metals, to move between gold and silver. And we just want to set this up here to give you an example of, if you just buy and hold metals, you don't do any switching or anything like that, you simply just buy and hold, what the performance can look like. So in the year 2000, if you had £10,000 and you bought gold, at the end of 2022, it'd be worth £87,500 roughly. And if you bought silver, it'd be about 61,500. So that's 22 years. You buy the metal and you just buy and hold, you sit on it, it gathers dust, and then you check the value 22 years later. Okay, so not a bad return. You know, it's held its own. But how could you get more? And this is what we do. We actually switch between gold and silver. We move between them, and we use the gold silver ratio to tell us when to move. Think of it like when you buy a house. Now, when you buy a house, you don't call it switching cash for property. You just call it buying a house. But what you're doing is you're starting with cash, whether it be a mortgage or cash or whatever, and you're exchanging that for a property. You're switching your cash for a property. Let's say then the house goes up in value, and then you sell that house and you go back to cash. You can have more cash than you started with. You know, you buy a house for 200 grand, you start with 200 grand, you buy the house goes up to 250, you then sell it, obviously assuming no fees or anything like that. You've then made 50,000 from seemingly nowhere. Does that make sense?
Yep.
And I think most people get that concept of buying a house and investing in property and all that stuff, but we don't always talk about it as far as you're switching. You're just swapping two things. Well, we can do the exact same thing with gold and silver. So let's say you start with gold, you then switch that to silver. The price difference between gold and silver changes. You switch back to gold and you've got more gold than you started with. Okay, so you start with 100 grams of gold, you switch it to silver, you switch it back, you've now got 110 grams of gold. You've made 10 grams. Okay, and this is exactly the principle that when we first saw it, we were like, yeah, just it's too much for us to take in. But now we really see the power in it. Just a note to say that if you are going through cash every time you switch metals, it's really, really inefficient. And we've never seen a way that it's worth doing if you're using cash. What I mean by that is, if you bought gold, you then if you had to then sell that gold for cash and hold the cash, and then take that cash and buy silver, it's really, really inefficient. So we encourage anyone do a lot of research into this. If you're looking at doing it that way, we've not seen a way that it works. The way that we do it is we simply switch from one metal to the other without going through cash. And that's really, really important. So that makes it possible and makes it really inefficient, and it makes it that you can profit so much more. So how do we do it? How do we do it with this switching? Well, we use the gold-silver ratio. And this is the graph we showed you before. Let's just take all the lines off and clear it up so you can see it for what it is. And with this, we're going to give you an example of just picking two numbers, 2 points on the chart, and showing you how you can use those numbers to switch and profit. So let's say a gold-silver ratio of 80, you switch your gold to silver. Then when the ratio goes to 60, you switch your silver back to gold. You say, well, what does that do? What difference does that make? Why would I do that? Surely I'm just back to gold, right? Let's show you. So let's start with 100 grams of gold. At 80, we switch our 100 grams of gold to silver, giving us 8,000 grams of silver, 8 kilos of silver, because the ratio is 80. For 1 gram of gold, you get 80 grams of silver. So we just ratchet that up. 100 grams of gold, you get 8,000 grams of silver. So now you're sitting in silver. Then the ratio goes down to 60, and you've got 8,000 grams of silver, which you're switching back to gold. Well, that will give you 133 grams of gold, not the 100 you started with, which means 33 grams more than you started with, and a rough market value today of around £1,600. This is without, and this is the golden rule of switching, without putting your hand in your pocket. So you are making more metals and it's not costing you, because the whole idea of metals is that you buy them and then over time they go up in value. Great. We've got all the data that shows that that's the case over time. They go up. So how do you kind of add to that and fast track that and compound that? Well, you want to have as much metal as you can so that when it goes up, you've got more to go up. But your kind of cash supplies are limited. People get to a point where they say, well, yeah, I don't want to buy any more. It doesn't make sense for me in my cash position to buy more. Well, here you can have your metal make you more metal just by being smart.
You could just do it once, Matt. Literally, like Adam's just said, somebody could just buy 100 grams of gold once, or 50 grams of gold. It doesn't have to be that, or even 10 grams of gold, whatever. And then buy once and leave it alone and just switch it over the years, and they're going to have more down the line, 10, 20 years time or whatever. You know, they don't ever have to put their hand in a pocket ever again. It's a great
tool. How easy is that process to do in terms of, you know, actually physically having to do that?
The way we do it, 3 clicks.
Wow, that easy.
That easy. Yep. Yeah, you switch one metal for the other. That's not the difficult bit. And it's
not
not
understanding it initially, isn't it? But...
Yeah, because, like, for example, you drive, Matt, right?
So, sorry, Adam, you just muted for a second. I don't know if that's my
oh, sorry. Do you drive?
Yes, I drive. Yeah.
Yeah. So if I said to you, oh, I was driving the other day at 100 miles an hour, you know that's fast. You know that that's at the upper end. Like, that's you're going some at that. If I said I was driving at 10 miles an hour, you're going, you know, I'm going pretty slow. And with the gold-silver ratio, people just need to get used to what is fast and what is slow. Like, what does 80 mean? Where is 80? Is it like at an extreme, or is it kind of in the middle? And that's the learning bit. People just need to get a little bit familiar with what 80, what 70, what 75 actually means in the grand scheme of things. And that's all it is. Once you've got that, which we can help you with that massively, actually doing the switch and pulling the trigger is easy. You know, it's literally 3 clicks and you can switch your metal. What we've actually done is we've put a spreadsheet together that people can email us and get for free. And all they simply do is put in what metals they've purchased and the date they've purchased them. and we tell them what the ratio was on the day that they purchased, because that's good to know. And they can play around with other ratios and be like, okay, I bought at 80. What happens if I switched at 70? And it tells you how much profit you will get percentage wise. So we've done as much as we can, holding people's hand digitally without being in the room with them,
Yeah.
so that they can really use this tool to profit for themselves.
Fantastic.
So basically, Adam's saying they've got something now that tells them whether they can switch to date or not.
Yeah.
You know, it really is as simple as that. And then they just log into their account, switch, job done. You know.
Yeah, it's very easy to do.
I don't think you could actually make it any easier by the sounds of it.
Yeah, we do our best. We do our best.
Yeah.
So
well, we didn't have that originally, Adam, did we? We've worked on that. You know, we've used. Well, we actually put that together ourselves, didn't we? Or you did, Adam, didn't you? Spent a lot of hours, a long time, because the formulas were like this long. Some of the formulas were massive.
Yeah.
But yeah, we spent a lot of time putting that together. Adam did, and but it's been worthwhile because it's given customers. It's just made it a lot easier for them. You know, type in the data, it gives you a thumbs up or wait for now. It tells you whether to go or don't go today. You know,
it's amazing. Good. No, great work, boys.
No, thank you. Thanks, mate.
So let's have a look at this. So you see the example we did. We said if you had £10,000 in the year 2000, you just bought gold and held it, it'd be 87.5 in the year 2022. Silver, it would be 61.5. What happens if you bought £10,000 worth of gold and you switched it over the same period? And we're going to say that we used 80 and 70, just round numbers. So we're switching from gold to silver at 80, and we're switching from silver to gold at 70. And what we did is we went back through the historical data every day from the year 2000 to the end of 2022 and worked out when we would switch and what impact that would have. And the net result of that is that if you had £10,000 in the year 2000, you bought gold, and then you switch that gold to silver at 80 and back to gold at 70, at the end of 2022, you'd have £180,000 worth compared to, I guess, 87 and 61 if you just bought and hold.
Wow.
Remember, this is without putting your hand in your pocket again. This is you buy £10,000 worth. And I know, look, not everyone's got £10,000. We're just using it as a round number. Some people start with 1,000, some people start with more than that. But the percentage increase is the same, whatever the amount is.
Amazing.
So, simply using a tool and being smart, you can get more metal and therefore more profit over time. And I think this really does separate what we do from other companies. And we're not, we don't want to cast a shadow on other companies, but if you buy 100 grams of gold in 20 years time, it will still be 100 grams of gold with other companies. With us, you have an opportunity to actually multiply your holdings without it costing you anything. It just takes a bit of learning.
Yeah.
And this isn't theory anymore. This isn't theory. We've been doing it for 2 years now, Adam, haven't we? And our customers, we've been helping our customers do it for 2 years now.
Yeah. So we switch, and we actually, here's another thing that we really try and do. So we educate people on the theory of it, but then we also, on our Telegram channel, we tell people when we're switching. We say, look, today we're switching because the ratio is this, and that means we bought here, we're switching here. Here's the difference and profit that we're making. So if people, let's say someone looks into the theory and they say, okay, I think I've got that. They've got some live data from us actually switching to kind of bounce that off of to make sure that they're on the right track.
Well, we tell them quite a lot, Adam, don't we? We tell them when we're buying, what we're buying, and why.
Yes.
Why we're switching. And there's quite a bit of detail in there. Tell them, trying to just constantly educate people and help them to get it. Because when you get it, you think, oh, wow. Well, saying that, we got it years ago, but we started to get it, but we didn't. We only started 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And that chart that you mentioned to Adam a minute ago, when the ratio went up to like 120, if you bought silver then and switched, we weren't switching then. So we kick ourselves sometimes and think, oh, I wish
Yeah.
Oh, I wish we were switching then. God, all right, yeah, yeah. It took us a long time to get our heads around it initially, first,
Mm.
didn't it? And then to put it out there to the masses and help the masses to do it. But we had to do it first, though. You know, we got it all set up. We did the first switches, and then we shouted it out aloud and told everyone, right, we've done it. It's not theory anymore. We've done it. It works. This is how you do it. And I mean, my last switch, I forget now, so I've done quite a few. But my last switch, I made about 5,000 grams of silver for free. You know, so it's not bad, is it? You know, and imagine that over your 10, 20, 30, or however many years you're going to be investing in precious metals. Imagine how many switches you could potentially have. You never know when that switch is going to happen, you know, when the ratio is going to move. But when it does, and it
You're
gets to
ready.
that point, then you've got the opportunity there to switch and make more metals. Then another good thing I love about it, I was going to Adam, Matt, is when if the prices have gone down for a while, like if the last week or so, if the prices of metals have gone down, then to us it doesn't matter because we're protected. We've done another video on this, Adam, haven't we? A long time ago, or was it last year? How to protect yourself in the market if the prices go down. Because if you've created more metals, then that covers that, doesn't it? You know.
Yeah.
But then when the prices go up again, you've got more metal going up in price, going up in value.
Yeah.
So it's very similar to this is the way I explain it. Adam might explain it differently. It's very similar to trading between currencies, but you haven't got the risk. You know, if you're trading in forex between pound and the US dollar, if you're trading, for instance, you could lose the whole lot just like that. I've seen it happen time and time again. But this, you're trading between, we call it switching between gold and silver and back again. But you can't just lose all your metals. They'll not just disappear.
Yeah.
You know, there's no risk to it, Adam, is there? You know.
Well, look, in that scenario, the worst thing that would happen is you just sit longer in one metal. You just sit there with it and wait.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
But it's great. It's got the benefits, but not the risks, you know.
Makes absolute sense.
yeah. And I think as well, it's something that people can, like, buying metals can be quite passive. You just buy and kind of and walk away, and that works for people. But some people do like to have an active element and want to play a part and increase their holdings. So just to say, you don't need to be waiting up all night, sat ready to click a button, watching a screen or anything like that. The gold silver ratio moves quite slowly. So from the first switch that we did, it was 13 months until we did the next switch. So it takes time. And then I think the next switch after that was like 6 weeks or something like that. So again, if you weren't checking it, you know, every day, it's not the end of the world. Again, that suits a lot of people. People are busy. They've got kids and pets and, you know, busy lives. With this, you can make more, but just without it. It's not the Red Bull of investing. You know, it's very much more laid back.
Yeah.
So yeah, we love it, and we've got a lot of people that have done it themselves and given us video testimonials, being like, you know, I wasn't too sure. I looked into it. I kind of trusted you guys. I did some of my own research. I did a switch, and I've got 20% more metal, and it's not cost me anything. I've not had to put my hand in my pocket. And you do 20% the first time. The next time you've got more metal. So the next 20% or 10% or whatever compounds.
Yeah, absolutely. No, perfect.
So it really puts the power back in the individual's hands, which we really like. So
listen, I love the way that you guys simplify things so well to make it so understandable to people. And like you say, if it's not, it doesn't matter how much you've got. It's all the same percentage wise.
Exactly.
In terms of what you're making, and eventually, you know, that, as you say, it compounds, and then you start seeing some really big changes. So, I mean, the work that you guys do, I think there should be a huge amount of thanks from a lot of people going out to you boys for doing the work that you do and making it so simple for everyone else.
Oh, thanks, Matt, for your kind words. It's really, really appreciated. And a lot of our customers do have them, don't they? We get a lot of such lovely people, you know, and they leave us some really good feedback. And you know, we do what we can.
It's nice for us to to pass it on as well, because we've had those light bulb moments where we've been like, hang on, we can make more metal, and we don't. The limitation is not how much we can buy. The limitation is well, infinite, really. I know that sounds like a big claim, but you can keep switching forever. You know, it's just a time thing. So yeah, and I think, Matt, keeping it simple, me and James, that's probably the hardest thing that we do.
It's very hard, isn't it? Keeping it simple.
I think, you know, there's probably many other financial videos you can watch and come out at the end of it going, not really sure I understand what's going on. But look, you got one, you switch for the other, and then you switch back. That's it. Just know when to do it. Yeah, and you can profit. And if
we help people with that, Adam, don't we? We help people. There's lots of other videos we educate people, where we educate people through them videos. And if they really get stuck, they can contact us and we'll help them. You know, we'll help them do it.
Yeah. And I would say that if anyone does want to get involved with switching or buying just to begin with, or even just to ask us questions, that's fine. We'll speak to anyone, you know. Then just get in contact with us and we'll point in the right direction. Just remember, this is what we do. So we're not talking about a theory that, hey, this is a nice idea. We personally do it. And we've got a big community of people that also do it. And they're very happy, which is great.
And we don't push it enough, I don't think, Matt. I think we've just sort of realised recently we need to push it more, because it's making such a big difference for ourselves and our customers. It really is. I mean, some of our customers have done better than us, Adam, haven't they?
They've timed it really well. So
they've just
which is great.
They've done really, really well. So yeah, it's good.
What it's all about. Well, I think if I could sum up in one sentence what you boys are doing, I would just say simplicity is genius.
It really is.
Definitely,
it is. We just wish something like this was taught in schools, and we'd all be in a different position.
Absolutely, mate. Absolutely. Maybe that's another thing that you could have on your list to do in years to come, is to push to get this kind of stuff taught to our kids and make them a little bit more aware of how you can make money in this world without even putting a hand in your pocket.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. The safe way.
Yeah. Great. Well, thanks so much, Matt, for your time. Hopefully that's been useful and interesting. And as we say, look, if anyone wants to ask us questions, that's completely fine. Just get in contact and we'll help you out.
Brilliant, boys. Well done. Keep up the great work.
Great. Thanks,
Matt, lads. Good to see you, mate.
See you soon.
See you.
Cheers.
Yeah,
Bye.
you take care, mate.